This is Arthur Putman, whistleblower from Florida. I'm on the 36 Metro bus headed to the clerk's office. This is so filthy corrupt, they don't even try to cover it up no more. The Putman due process, that's what I came all the way up here for. To report a $79 billion fraud that Senator Rick Scott from the great state of Florida committed against all the seniors in the state of Florida, which include myself, a senior with disabilities, 65 years old. I've been sleeping on the streets of D.C. for 11 months now. I've been banned from the whole Capitol Hill for the last 8 months, illegally, because I challenged the power structure on Capitol Hill. They're all a bunch of thieves, super thieves, and criminals. And that's where my filing is geared towards. The criminal aspect, 18 USC. But this thing is such a fraud because I challenged the 1%ers. If you don't know who the 1%ers is, let me just enlighten you. They're the rich, filthy rich, corrupt, demonic Jews. I think it's 28 of them that together they call themselves the 1%ers. And I must admit, they got power. They do got power. If it wasn't for God, I would have been crushed. But they done got so desperate now because my documents couldn't be discredited that I had to prove myself competent at 65 to participate in a illegal entry charge into the Senate Judiciary Committee office. Now, after 3 psychological evaluations, I've been declared competent. Listen, I ain't going nowhere. One percenters, Senator Charles Grassley, ex-chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Marco Rubio, AKA Little Hands. Well, that's what the president called him anyway. So I agree with the president. Thief, super thief, Marco Rubio. Now we get to my favorite senator, Rick Scott from the great state of Florida. Listen, this buster done robbed Medicaid so hard, I mean so hard, that he done became a 1%er. And so for his $79 billion fraud against Medicaid, well, through Medicaid and my health care provider, which was Sunshine Health, Once they signed that illegal contract, it became Sunshine State Health, as in Sunshine State of Florida. Listen, enough. That same healthcare provider, I done had 7 HIPAA violations against them. All they had was 24 primary care physicians in their whole entire network. Not one specialty doctor. But the contract was more important than criminal violations, violation of the American with Disabilities Act of 1990, fraud against America in the greatest portion, but yet a $79 billion fraud, which is still active and don't expire until July of this year. Catholic Church? No, wait a minute, let me go back. Let's go to the House now. Thief, super thief. Ex-federal judge. Disgraced, disbarred, and even did some time. Been on Capitol Hill for the last 20 years. He's a puppet and a do-boy. I took my issues to him 4 years ago in his local office of Oakland Park, Florida. The liaison from his office to Social Security was a little Jew boy that they've been grooming. His name is Louis Goldberg. Now, how 4 years later I come to Washington and confront Congressman L.C. Hastings. He tell me they cannot find my complaint form. And if I would do another one, then, you know, they would do great diligence. Because, by the way, I'm the only American citizen that's got 3 Social Security numbers. Not 1, not 2, but 3 Social Security numbers. Listen, enough of this fuckery. Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Thief, super thief. Demonic evil. This is a part where you resign or be prosecuted. The Constitution guarantees me due process. And that's why I'm all the way up here for due process. And then to declare me due process, to give me due process, that means that they got to give me 30% of that fraud that don't expire until July 1st of this year. If they do that, that'll make me a 1%er. These crackers better die. and killed their first son to make me a 1%er. Okay, let's move on to the Catholic Church. Father Hoyer, Father Michael Hoyer from the great state of Florida, St. Gregory the Great in Plantation, Florida, which I was been a member of for 30 years until I went to the church for help, trying to expose that fraud. This Jew, Bati boy, excommunicated me from the church. Okay, I came up here after 4 years getting documents to support this narrative. I took him to ex-Senator Bill Nelson. Now these documents in direct conflict from the senator, Rick Scott, because they were generated by his Attorney General's office, the chief police in the state of Florida. His name is James Mann, Colonel James Mann. He wrote a 5-page memo that clearly states that in his experience of more than 30 years in law enforcement, that my due process, because of my freedom of speech, was encapsulated. Not violated, but encapsulated. Listen, all of y'all that's, viewing this stream, look, I went to Father Gurney. Father Gurney is the pastor of St. Joseph on Capitol Hill, right across the street from the Senate building. Father Gurney, with all his shortfalls, received correspondence from the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Charles Grassley, and from my favorite congressman, Congressman L.C. Hastings. Now they indicated to my priest, because he's my local priest, because I'm up here in Washington, indicated to him that I'm a troublemaker and I need to be sent back to Florida. And when he said that, he said at all costs, I did not need to be in Washington. Okay, he tell me, and then he tell me about he got the call from Mr. Charles Grassley of the Senate Judiciary Committee. At this time, he was the chairman. That told him to give me a ticket back to Florida, to Fort Lauderdale, a one-way ticket. I ain't mad. I need to get home anyway. Washington, D.C. is so demonic. There's a challenge just to pray. Why you think the president like he is? All them fat, bald head, corrupt, super thieves up there on Capitol Hill. Now there's gotta be a norm because every one of my elected officials came from the governor's seat up here to Washington. And you can't come from Florida to Washington unless you done made a lot of money for the one percenters. The rich, filthy rich, corrupt, criminal Jews. It's 28 of them. Okay, well this is the part where we all fall down. I done fell down, remember? You forced a stroke July the 17th, 2014. My God is stronger from a wheelchair to Washington. Listen, T-Mobile, I ain't forgot about you. And when I shout out at T-Mobile, I'm shouting out to Mr. John Williams. I don't know if he's the COO or CEO. I don't know what part he's playing in T-Mobile, and T-Mobile is owned by the government anyway. Listen, you done killed 5 criminal investigations. Listen there, I'm gonna give you a brief story right quick. When I was in Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, I had an iPhone. That's when the 7 Plus came out. My number was 754-209-4585. And it was the same number I had from the very first iPhone to the 7th series. Listen, my friend that I went to Cincinnati with, she said, let me just put you on my plan. Because I was with AT&T. Because AT&T was the only company that was allowed to sell iPhone and service them. She added me to her plan, and when she added me to her plan, the line was breached. My line was breached. I went to T-Mobile repeated times, telling them that I want to shut that line down and move my number wherever, but away from T-Mobile. You know what T-Mobile did? They let me shut my line down, shut my number down, and my friend, who line it was, she canceled it. Well, imagine this here. 4 years later, I come to T-Mobile to open up a line. They say, okay, we got a special. We got a senior plan. 2 lines for $60. I said, what? I said, okay. I take a Google Pixel 2 to T-Mobile. This was March 6th of last year. They give me two new numbers, you know, everything Ari. 2 weeks later, the number that was supposed to be on the main line disappeared, and the same number that I had canceled 5 years ago was forced back, you understand, as my main number. Jokers. That's why they can't control this satellite now. Got all the fuckery that they did to me. God is ultimate power. Listen, while I'm talking, like we getting ready to head through Capitol Hill. That's the closest I can come to Capitol Hill because I've been banned by trying to have my documents receipted. And by the way, Senator Charles Grassley, through his goons, after reading my documents, told me that no black man has ever been declared a whistleblower. I laughed at him. What am I, green? Instead of receiving my documents, he called the U.S. Capitol Police and had me arrested. That was 8 months ago. And right now, today, I'm still banned from the whole Capitol Hill. I did my legal research at the Library of Congress. Illegal. Due process. The little crooked church, the Catholic church that I was going to, St. Joseph on Capitol Hill. It's on Capitol Hill, so I can't go to that church no more. Listen, due process. Now, since they can't beat me, they done called in all cars. The mayor done devised a program to try to help them out. It's called Vision Zero. Every citizen in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia have been given the order to keep their eyes on me. Because they can't track this phone. Right now they can track it because I'm letting them track it. But when I close this stream, bye-bye. I believe in God. And you demons, wait a minute, we getting through Capitol Hill. Let me switch and show you a little scenery right now. There we go. This is Capitol Hill, Washington. But thieves and super for so long. When y'all gonna wake up? Now look how they got it now. They got the Democrats or the Simocrats that's got the power in the House, and they got the Republicans, super thieves, with the power in the Senate. So tell me how anything gonna get done? Fuckery. They're the famous U.S. Capitol Police. Okay, there we is. If anybody understand on God gave me the power. If you don't believe in God, you better, because He's coming soon. This is Arthur Putman whistleblower. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to give you a little narrative, due process, freedom of speech, separation of church and state, the Constitution. They done sold all of this shit. And y'all still walking around blind. I was too, until I had that massive stroke. They can't discredit me. I'm not crazy. Due process. Arthur Putman whistleblower from Florida. Again, thank y'all.